Hi there, Nancy here, and welcome back to another episode of Entrepreneur Rescue Mission. So, this week we're talking about a topic that is so near and dear to me and my heart, right? I wrote the book, How to Build Your Personal Brand on Social Media last year, and obviously this year, Scott and I just released our new book, which is The Feel Good Business Model, which we're both so incredibly proud of. But one thing that we really talk about and that we always really try to get across to everyone is we all have a personal brand, right? We all, whether we like it or not, we have, a reputation that we're building online. And the cool thing is that you really have control of that. And so today, I really wanted to talk about a strategy and some tips on how you can really elevate. Right, your brand and your business, and really help you carve out, a little space to make sure that you are seen as the thought leader, that you are posting content that is, obviously going to showcase you as a thought leader and so much more. So, want to give you some tips today. Also, want to put a reminder out there if you have not signed up or registered yet, our workshop that we're doing this week. So, when this episode is posting live, if you guys are following week to week, today is day one of our personal branding blueprint workshop. It's a 5-day workshop where we really cover some really awesome things, routines, even some of the things that I'm going to be talking about today. But it's a really great workshop. Definitely sign up, register, and jump in. Even if you can't make today, maybe you can make all the other 4 days. So definitely check it out. So the tips whenever it comes to actually elevating your brand in business, it really makes me think about an episode actually that I recently watched, that one of our, actually Scott and I interviewed him before, one of my like favorite content creators did. And his name is Andy Crestodina. And he actually recently did it with Social Media Examiner. And during the interview, they talked about what kind of content was really resonating with people, what was getting the most traction, sharing some tips on things that people can do. And it really got me excited, right? Because it's, again, all the same stuff we always talk about, but it really just validated and solidified so much of what we teach. And the one thing that Andy really said that really stuck out is the importance of creating content that really sets you apart as a thought leader, and one of those types of content, right, that you can post is your opinion, sharing an opinion on a topic, really discussing something that might be out there. And it doesn't have to be, guys, it doesn't have to be political. In fact, I would say steer clear of political and politics and, all that kind of stuff, religion, right? We don't talk about those things. We want to really hone in and talk about maybe some things in the industry. And you're not starting a conversation, you're not posting this content or your opinions to start a fight or an argument. You want to start a conversation. Okay. In fact, Seth Godin, who's also a really brilliant marketer, always talks about, content should start conversation. So that's one thing that I wanted to kind of start with is the importance of creating content that sets you apart as a thought leader, right? We should be posting content, across multiple avenues, right? Could be blog, could be your LinkedIn newsletters, could be, videos that we do to kind of showcase and talk about different things. We should be educating our audience. We should be leaning into, any of the pain points, the problems, the things that kind of bubble up, that our audience is really looking for a solution to. And again, when you post content like this that's educational and helpful, people see you as a source, that they can come to, that they can, kind of come into your universe and stay up to date on a particular subject or topic. So definitely set aside some time to really plan out and create content that people find value in. And then the other thing, as I mentioned before, it's important to also share your opinions, right? One thing that's really big right now is, AI, right? So many people are just using AI, and I believe, and I full-heartedly believe this, I love AI so much, but there is a right way to use AI and there's a wrong way to use AI, okay? And, using AI and training it to know your business and your audience and your clients and things like that, first, and using it as a brainstorming tool, right? And I say this, I mean, using it as a way to really kind of create, better communication, lean into pain points, things like that, is how you should be using it. We shouldn't just be clicking a button and saying, hey, write this whole article for me. Okay, good. Right? We should be providing our thought leadership, our expertise, because that's something AI can't do. Okay. So please make sure, again, to remind, just to remind everyone, you are you, right? You are an expert in your space, right? You want to set yourself apart as an expert in your space, and AI cannot have opinions, but you can. Okay. So sharing topics, and just to give you some examples, right? I think, one thing that popped up the other day was, our opinions on using emojis, right? In content, right? Maybe I have an opinion, maybe Scott has opinion, but that's something that maybe we can talk about and say, do you think that this is, professional? Do you think this is, helping your reach and so on and so forth? So anyway, you can pick out a lot of topics. I couldn't even think of one right there, but you get my point. So the next thing, right? So when we talk about steps to elevate your business, kind of went around the circle here, but the first one is really content. Okay. So posting that content, whether it be blog, video, social, podcast, just anything, again, in a way that's coming from you, setting you apart as the expert in your space so that people know you're the person, right? You're the person that they're going to go to for their particular pain point or problem. And you'll obviously be able to educate there. Now, the second way that you can really set yourself apart and elevate your brand in your business is to speak, right? So actually book speaking engagements. So there are some different tools and, obviously places where you can connect with, people who need speakers. In fact, Speaker Hub, is one that's out there. You could even probably just do a Google search and look, how do I find speaking engagements? Also, think about conferences, right? If you are in a specific industry, in fact, I work with a lot of health insurance brokers, right? Think about, I know they have the national underwriters, conventions. They've got, different things for health insurance brokers. Think of those types of conferences that maybe you could reach out to some of the administrators and you could, potentially provide value and you can do some training for. People are always looking for experts. In fact, I've had quite a few people reach out to me. I did a training for the National Association for Women Business Owners all around content creation. I've actually recently had someone reach out that they wanted me to do speaking for them next year on content creation. So, again, speaking is also a really great way to get in front of your ideal audience, showcase you as the expert. And again, you should be able to, right, talk about what you are the expert in. So if you can confidently get up there, you can share your expertise, you got eyeballs on you, it's a good look. Okay. So the third step, right, that you can do to elevate your brand in your business is networking. Okay. And whenever I say networking, I don't just mean, maybe going to a, I don't know, just a simple business meeting or anything like that. I mean, connecting with people on LinkedIn, forming power partnerships. In fact, my husband Scott talks about this all the time. We shouldn't just be connecting with our leads. We should be actually connecting with people that we can collaborate with and that we can actually support each other, and we can together do things to promote our business and obviously introduce our, services and what it is that we do to a wider audience. But sometimes making awesome partners can drastically change your business, and I want you guys to think about people who are kind of in an adjacent space to you. Maybe they're in, a similar industry or, they work with your ideal audience. An example of this, maybe you partner up with let's say you're a business strategist or, someone who specializes, I'll use my husband, for example, LinkedIn. He could team up with, maybe a coach or a business coach that teaches all things for business, but really doesn't teach anything niche specific when it comes to like social media platforms. Well, Scott could partner up and actually say, hey, I can come in and I can teach, LinkedIn specifically for, whatever to your audience. And then again, their audience gets a feel for all the things that Scott's the expert in. So not only is Scott potentially getting additional business, he's also maybe even getting referrals from those people who enjoyed the training so much. It happens all the time. So remember to network and make sure that you're not just connecting with leads, on social media, that you're also connecting with people who would make great power partners as well. The next tip is one of my, like, this one was big for me. Okay. And I kind of want you guys to think about like a little bit of a mindset shift. In fact, I'll say a lot of bit of a mindset shift. But I want you to put your hats on and realize that when you are an expert, when you are a thought leader, when you are someone who is an expert in your space, you need to be a lifelong learner. Okay, and I once interviewed, in fact, it was a fantastic interview when I had first started this podcast, a gentleman named Sean Shepard, and he was an investor. And I remember he was sharing with me that one of the biggest tips that he has, for people, is that you have to be a lifelong learner. You've always got to be open to learning something new. We can't just learn all there is about, let's say, marketing or, whatever it is that you're the expert in and just sit down and go, all right, we're good, and then years go by and obviously everything changes. Okay. We can't do that. We've got to be open to consistently learn. Okay. And the more that we learn, the more that we stay on top of trends and things that are changing, well, the more we know, the more we can support our clients. And three, again, you want to stay on the top of your game, right? You don't want to become irrelevant. So my recommendation there is, again, get your, mindset shifts. We want to be growth mindset, right? We want to be willing and open to learn new things. AI, with the introduction of AI, right? There's been so many technological advances that if you're not learning, right, you're not staying up to date, you're going to get left behind on a lot of things. Okay. So, my tip there is, one thing that I do is I pick out, some people in my space or my industry or, in my zone, right? So if it's in marketing, who can I follow that I know is going to be on the top of their game and who's going to share the best content, who's going to give me the most researched and up to date information? And what I'll do is I will make it a routine to consistently make sure to consume, listen to their podcasts, check out their YouTube videos. Guys, it's part of my workflow, it's part of my routine of making sure, right, that I'm always learning, right? And I've got protected time to do that. So pick, I would say, about maybe three people. It doesn't have to be a ton, but it could be even like 3 to 5, and at least, okay, doesn't have to be every single day. Could be once a week, could be once a month, but make it a routine and set aside some time for learning. For me in the morning, I actually pick out my favorite podcasts or my YouTube channels that I listen to as I get ready in the morning. In fact, I've got a little portable speaker that I have that I stick on top of the shower, and I put my phone, next to the shower, and I'll play the episodes. And if something really hits with me after I get out of the shower, I do a little talk to text and I keep a note, in my notes document. So that's what I do. Figure out what works for you, but please be open. Okay. We don't want to be resistant to having to learn, right? We don't want to make it a chore. We don't want to make it a negative thing. I want to shift your mindsets into a space where you feel excited, right, to stay on top of the game and to learn the latest things so that you can share it with your audience and you can stay up to date. Okay. So again, pick out, the people or the, platforms that you're going to really focus on to get inspiration and obviously to stay up to date on what's going on out there. Okay. Now, when it comes to all of this, right? So I just shared some tips on how you can really, elevate your brand in your business. Some additional things, right? Proactively, right? We can do so much to really fine tune and even carve, a space for us even better. And, some of those things are number one, make sure that you have a niche, right? Make sure that you picked a really clear cut niche, that you are fully knowing your audience, that you fully understand their pain points, what it is that they're looking to do. Okay. So that's a big one, right? We got to make sure that we know our stuff. The next thing is, and like I mentioned before, right, creating a really solid content strategy. all of what I talked about, thought leadership, sharing your opinions, guys, I don't want you flying by the seat of your pants. Take the time to actually plan out and create a strategy, create, and plan your content out, right? The biggest thing is if I just sit in front of my computer and just, I don't know, well, what am I going to talk about today? And just pull it out of a hat. I know that for me, I'm not going to be consistent. I want you guys to be thoughtful. I want you to be able to have time to really craft and pull together the best information. Okay. So please make sure that you take time to create a content strategy. And then, of course, again, it's continually building your brand. So, one thing, and I know I've kind of talked about a lot of things, but one thing I want to share with you is this week. Okay. So, we only do this a couple times a year. We are actually opening the doors to our Expert Authority Mastermind program. So, for those of you who have never heard of it, it's actually a program that my husband and I created together in our company, which is the Time to Grow, where we really hone in on our zones of genius and our skill sets. And so, me, I really like to work with people to help, build out the foundations of their business, to hone in on their sales funnels, sales messaging, their personal brand strategy, content creation, all that good stuff. And then Scott really hones in on, just all of the sales, conversations, really getting a strong sales process in place, making sure that you're generating consistent leads, for the different services that you provide, and so much more. So if you guys are looking for a mastermind that's not just a mastermind, right? It's not just a meeting in a group of people. We actually meet with you strategically. We have quarterly sessions. We give you an action plan. We learn more about your business and what you're looking to do, and we create a plan for you. So anyway, if you're looking to uplevel your business this year and be in the company of really awesome people, been doing this for years now. We just absolutely love it. We've had some amazing, amazing success stories, which we'll even be sharing, during our workshop this week as well. So anyway, if you're interested, check out, visit thetimetogrowth.com, and the program is Expert Authority. So again, if you are interested, you can apply. Guys, the doors are only open from Thursday to Monday, April 29th. So please definitely check that out if you're interested. Doesn't hurt also to just send us a little message, reach out, see if it's a good fit. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll catch you next week.